Soviets and Soviets. How you doing? This is Conover.
Kangaroo, hello, hello, hello.
Folks, we're on chemicals, so we're working on a different kind of peel here. Rang, who do we have today with WARNO?
On the left-hand side, in the blue, we have ourselves a Hippie playing the French parachutist division. And on the right-hand side, in the red, we have a WARNO playing the 4th Warthunder division.
So one of our shoots over here, you were saying before we got started, is really all about that price-efficient trades, right? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, Warthunder division's really good, as you get the Fallschirmjägers, and as you can see, they have that for deployment, which is definitely going to help against the French, as all their paratroopers also have, surprise, surprise, for deployment. And we're seeing that get hot up north in the forest here, as the Fallschirmjägers and French go at it, but there's a few more Frenchmen in this engagement.
Well, and the Milan is nothing to be sneezed at either. Unfortunately for them, the Fallschirmjägers are able to get out of their trucks before they get hit too hard. But, noticing that in this case right here, we do have a massive fight going through the chemical plant. And meanwhile, we actually have this one MI2 just kind of sitting there, just doing some recon, a little bit of,
Oh,
well,
I'm being shot at, they're over here.
Exactly.
Just follow the tracers, that's your location.
I suppose that, recon by using your front, your face is probably a pretty good way of putting it. Well, you said before also that the parachutes over here, the parachutista, or however you want to call them, not great in most kind of open combats. Why is that?
Yeah, they're probably the worst division in game currently, because yes, they have really good infantry, like some of the best, and very good aircraft, but they have nothing really else. Their tank game is pretty pants. But on a map like this, I think it might have to be a pretty good choice, as this is pretty much an infantry spam map. There's not a whole lot of open areas to engage in, so be curious to see how they do perform.
I will say the two gazelles that were down south had both their legs broken by the double Strellas. Now, the Strellas don't have much in the way of ammunition. Indeed, one of them has died in the meantime. But when you lose that kind of help and you have firepower against it, they're only 20 points, but do you really want to be losing that many helicopters this early?
Yes. He does have a lot to lose, at least, but,
True.
the French helicopters aren't exactly great, especially compared to, Red 4 with all their Hips and Hinds. Lots of Hinds. There's a lot of Hinds in Warthunder.
True. We are going to see in the meantime a lot of just Fallschirmjägers trading off these Legionaries over here, and I'm not going to say much other than just to say that I feel like the Legionaries are radically outgunned.
Yeah, a little bit outnumbered in this case here, and so far the central position is definitely looking quite beneficial here for a aWoodenBox. Probably just a few T-55s will go a long way of providing fire support. But we're seeing a Mirage F-Run going in, going to be dropping in some big bloody bombs.
And honestly, did a lot less than I expected them to. A lot less, honestly. But in any case, interesting thing, we actually have this huge squad of SPG-9s, kind of with this Aufklärer kind of up front, making this south kind of end run over here, which actually I really kind of love, because you're looking at that western sector. Notice that the bottom sectors on both sides got picked up very, very quickly. So it's going to take a really long time for this punch to get there, but I feel like once it does, it's actually going to hurt quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a sneaky little C-type location, yeah. And this whole southern area of the map is pretty hilarious, because there is no actual, command zone to really fight over. It's just where you see all the fighting in center and up north. But yeah, that little strip of land just allows you to, sneak a guy through and, well, potentially get a CV snipe.
Well, you're getting actually a very interesting sniper here in the meantime, too. That's these Sapiros, Paras, taking up a very, very cheeky cap over here in the center, and ooh. Yeah, so there's Fallschirmjägers. So those guys aren't dead, then I want to own whatever that building is made out of. But now it's a new parking lot. In fact, you zoom in, you can see it's a new parking lot there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's just slowly Hippie is managing to get a foothold back into the center of the map up north. Things are getting a bit hot, these sappers are pushing in. But the problem right now here for Hippie is that once he gets to the edge of his forest line, he has no long-range firepower to really compete. Even just a few BTRs and UAZs with recoilless rifles will be enough to keep the French back in their forest.
Just kind of think about it. The APLS might be enough to take out the SPWs. In fact, they really should.
Oh yeah, they will be. It's just getting in close. He needs
Mhm.
long-range anti-tank, and well, the French, his options are ERC-90s, which are good actually in this sort of engagement here, or Milan cars, or cars.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, Milans.
No, yeah, I'm sorry. Milan. That's because after the system itself. The slow punch is still taking its time to get over there. We should stop for a quick second over here. We see a lot of the little chevrons in the corner. These are quality, of course. We have, excellent, good, fair, and, conscript, basically, poor. What does that actually mean to the greater kind of thing overall? Is this a shorthand that most players can kind of use? I know that's going to be a very different thing from what most people have been used to, especially if they're coming from SD2. What's going on with that?
Pretty much the veterancy mechanic. Again, it's pretty good, just like in Steel Division 2, more so because veterancy is, it's longer as punishing to take higher vetted units in terms of availability, and you don't have leader spam, so you kind of need to. And especially in this case with, well, especially the French, as all their troops do have some very high veterancy availability, and you kind of want to take that because it makes them quite deadly. Really, just the stress resilience goes a long way in these infantry fights. And also having Mirage Bomb infantry for you, that's also beneficial.
I think the reason they did that because we have basically what amounts to the French National Guard coming forwards, and these guys are not well armed.
No, they're pretty much equipped to fight in Dien Bien Phu, not so much on Folder Gap.
Ooh, so the Gazelle. Oh wait, the Gazelle should have pretty good optics, yeah. So how does he not see this SPG? What are you doing, bro? Oh my gosh.
The SPGs are gonna sneak on by. It might not even just be paying attention there, as he's more focused on dealing with this Alclair, which did get spotted.
I think that should be fair because he was trying to engage at the ultralight over here with the 20 mil.
Between the two 20 mils, that's 20 mil now. That Alclair will be thinking twice about engaging anymore, and the UAZs are making that end run. The problem for him is he's going to have to find the command infantry to some, sapper paras.
Yeah, but I appreciate the fact, yeah, he knows where it is. It's kind of funny, that most guys are like, you know what, check the corners, sweep the corners, go from there. He's not going to be in that northeastern corner. That might be down the road where you want to start slotting things, but for the moment, not so bueno.
Yeah.
Also worth mentioning, those Mirages, I think their day in the sun is now done, because now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Shilkas, and Estrelas, excuse me. I think there's the Shilka is still in there as well, so yikes.
Starting to see more heavy anti-aircraft investment here. These Germans do get some very effective anti-air, especially if you start buying some Cubs as well. You set up a good battery of Cubs and you pretty much lock down the air game. And that's really what you have to do against 11 French. They really only leave two good tabs, infantry and aircraft. You knock out the aircraft, the infantry falls very shortly afterwards.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that's unfortunate is SPG-9s don't really have great HE necessarily, but they have it just enough to kind of take things out over here to the southwest. And that's actually quite a good time over here for WARNO, because he's been, well, let's just say things have not happened quite as stiff as he might have liked.
Yeah, it's just been pretty brutal up north of Traden, and Hippie is slowly but surely regaining, or gaining territory, I should say. He's starting to hook her a little bit more around the northern end, which is a much better move for him, because he needs to stay in that forest. The trees are his friends. He's going to have to roleplay as a Lorax in this game.
I think I'm quite curious, actually, about this anti-rad missile.
The seed?
Yeah.
Yes. Mainly just to keep enemy air defense at bay, but it's really not a whole lot to seed. The Strellas are pretty much immune because they don't use radar. You can knock out a Shilka or two, and there's no Cubs currently online, which are really what you want to be using seed against.
Yeah, I think right now as well, he's got optics, I guess, are good enough, but...
I honestly find like most seed aircraft in this game not to really be rough. Rather, Jaguar is not so bad because it is cheap. I mean, it's not going to survive as much compared to something a bit more high class. But usually, just in terms of the trade-in value between knocking out anti-air. You have to knock out at least like 2 to 3 anti-aircraft pieces of a seed aircraft to really, you know, trade efficiently. Most of the time it doesn't happen. You get killed after run strike.
So Puma Pirate's going to find all the troops to the southern side. But to the northern side, sneaking in and kind of forcing back the logistics over here with that PC. Unfortunately, the PC could get taken out pretty quickly by this RPG, which should be happening in about 10 seconds. So, yep, line's on. So there we go. That's going to be another cap right back in.
Indeed. Very good aWoodenBox. Yeah, Hippie does have a pretty scary infantry force in here. WARNO just needs to try and keep him contained. He doesn't really have to worry about anything south maneuvering, as it's all open ground if he tries to push out. It's really just that thin strip of forest is going to be the main angle of attack here for Hippie. Probably just some artillery as well would go a long way in just suppressing that choke point.
He's really super concerned about that, which is, you know, an interesting decision. I'm actually really liking this slow kind of grind over here that's in the middle of this chemical plant. Actually, I love as many Strelas are in here, because like we said, the French, they're only here for air power, and if you keep away the clusters and you keep away those JDAM type bombs, what are the French going to do to you? Very, very little.
And 2 Cubs as well being brought on in, so that's some heavy duty air defense as well, and then mixed in with the Strelas and the Shilkas, that is a pretty beefy. Yeah, that's a lot of air. That's a lot of air defense, but that's definitely the right counter here for aWoodenBox. We probably could use a bit more infantry on the front line here, as it is starting to look a little bit scarce for him. Really, just a few Falchimiagas and a couple more Teutons.
Yeah, but you know, at the same time, I think actually I really kind of appreciate the fact he's trying to go and secure the northern flank before he pushes in the center. I think that is kind of necessary. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need to cure your echolocation. Mainly just due to the fact that it's like your defensive point. There's not really much like reason for him to try to push Charlie. Pick the front out of the forest drill. Be really too much pain. You know, actually be worth. The center of the map really plays better for his T-55 spam.
Now, unfortunately for him, Shilka is, despite having all the guns in the world, not equipped to handle infantry.
Oh,
strange.
Especially sneaky infantry, which getting those RPG shots off first. We got Mirage coming in, but as you see, the air defense network is online. And
he still loses one.
Yeah.
But it's online.
But the Cubs are still alive, so they have been spotted. And do not group up your Cubs or any anti-aircraft units together like this, please. Like, spread them out a little bit. I was just asking to get like artilleried or clustered or whatever manner of ordnance.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be something he's going to hear us very well on. And not just because this is a replay. I think that's kind of the predilection. If I cluster these guys together, I can increase the chance that, you know, my units will be safe, which is kind of a false equivalency.
Yeah, just spread out. For love of God, just spread out.
Exactly. You're not dating, but just a little bit of breath here.
We've seen the Shashas also maneuver down south, and he might actually get some shots into this anti-aircraft network.
Ooh, actually, I didn't realize that these guys are also packing some heat shells as well. Yeah, and they've got the Strelas. One by one, they're going to get taken out. This is actually a really, really great play.
And they got like a pretty long-range RPG, our ACF run.
Nice FETs engaging. Yeah, he's got to move that that command vehicle probably a little bit further north. They may not have line of sight on it immediately, but he's going to if they move out even like 50 meters.
We're seeing the Pioneer flamethrowers being brought in clutch to probably help defend. We're also seeing a push up north here of the Mod Teutons, actually making some progress. As Hippie is actually falling. Oh, I guess he's not really falling back. He's just trying to deal with that one BTR.
C'est possible. Clusters in the meantime looking for and taking out another chunk of that air defense. So we talked about how wonderful air defense is, and it is taking out its fair share of planes, but not at the cost that he's paying for it. That's not price efficient.
Yeah, knocking out both those cubs is pretty big, because he only get 4 cubs in his deck build, so that's half of those cubs done. And the Strellas are, you know, they're really just there to throw missiles in the air to look scary, and the Shilkas only have limited air defense range, so that's a pretty big win, honestly, for Hippie.
Yeah, 40% of the time works every time, but that's not really that great odds. Actually, let's look over here. That accuracy is surprisingly high for what I would expect it to have been.
Or if you shoot enough bullets.
True. Well, the Mirage is coming back in, so here comes another devastating run.
And for the CV. Nice!
Yep. That was the right call.
Yeah. Oh, it does actually get shot down from the run-2 combo.
Doesn't matter, it's worth it.
Yeah. And that's going to give him a nice little +3 here. We're seeing a big Marchuchin push as well. There's not a whole lot of infantry right now here from Hippie in the center. It might prove to be a bit of an issue. It does give WARNO a time to counter-attack.
Yeah, but not having the infantry doesn't mean diddly squat if there's still no logistics really behind it. And while I'm not suggesting that taking out one logistics vehicle is the be-all, end-all, you still force your opponent to now spend another 100 points on that, which at this point, not what you want to be spending material on. Regardless.
That's a good point, because he does need to, you know, stomp out +3 take. It's not terrible having a +3 take for a bit, but it's probably come down to a grind in Delta. Yo, actually, maybe not. He might actually just CV snipe Hippie's CV.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah, he's getting real close to that, isn't he?
You see, actually got a few shot sniff, knocks out 2 guys, so he knows where it is. The BTRs do smell blood in the water. And now, once again, this is, like, usually BTR 70s, not exactly a scary unit. It's pretty much the half-track of this game. But when you have no ground-based anti-tank, it can be quite devastating.
Yes, it is. And this is one of those times where they don't have any kind of...
Not even an RPG nearby.
Nope.
That's not good. It's going to come down to the clusters to knock out APCs. But one's still alive, and he is just shooting at point blank and does get the kill.
Yes, he does.
So an eye for an eye.
He does. But yeah. So, what's the state of things over here, sir? I mean, we have, obviously, nobody's controlling the center. Who's got the lead with this right now?
I'd say momentum's in aWoodenBox's advantage. He's definitely trading better in the center, and he just has a better deck for grinding out in the center if he can start getting those tanks online. Then we got 2 MO24Ds being brought up. Not really for the anti-tank, because their Phalanga ATGM is really crap. But they have rockets and a minigun, and those are pretty good.
Well, and if we need anything to really be suppressing the enemy... Oh no, here comes the seed.
Not really much to seed here.
Boo. But it's enough to take him out. Shilka, in the meantime, as well as Shilka, desperately trying to take him out. Doesn't look like they're going to be very successful with this.
Manages to dodge the missiles, and definitely a very more direct seed approach there. Where I used a seed missile when you just got a big bloody cannon, you know?
That is very true. Shooting over here at the BTR. Actually, wait a second. Jeez, the MI-24 is absolutely roasting those reservists.
Yeah.
Oh, wait! Command zone lost to the north. Oh, another sneaky beaky play.
Oh, I like it. And he's got a pretty beefy force here of infantry, so I don't think that's going to be a permanent position, but it's enough just to buy him a bit of time.
Well, there is some artillery here in the back, and 152 has not yet engaged anything. This is my time, I think. It'd be like, you know what? Roast that northern side. And now he's lost this... Ooh.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
That wasn't... Did he just lose his logistics?
Yeah, he lost his command vehicle.
Oh,
It got bombed.
Oy vey, and that's why you don't lose the Cubs.
Yes. Because he knows the French air power, once it comes in, does get good kills, but the problem is it can only have so much effect on the battlefield. There's a lot of mod shooting and cheap T-55s all spread out, and also just all these hinds. It's just an overwhelming amount of firepower here from aWoodenBox, which I think Hippie just mathematically is going to have a very hard time dealing with.
For right now, it looks good. But that's really until things kind of reassert themselves, let's say.
Also as well, Hippie's recently brought like 2 CVs, run through the center, and then run through up north, so he's lacking a little bit in frontline firepower, especially in the center position. Yeah, the missions are just going to clear through us, and same with the hinds.
Yep. Yep, these guys are certainly not in hind position. Although, Northern aircraft kind of going on in. I think it was, what was the MiG-21 maybe?
MiG-29.
It was 29.
Yeah, he went in and got blapped.
Well, now that the Fliegerfausts are there, so that's not really the most ideal opportunities, let's say. And the mod shoots in the meantime, shockingly enough, getting hammered pretty hard by these reservists.
Yeah, just the number game is helping him hold, but that Shilka is moving up. And as we see, you know, just like an SD2, verbal rings, Shilkas, you know, you just stick like a bunch of autocannons onto a vehicle, it becomes an absolute, you know, cheese grater of a machine.
Yes, indeed. I'm watching the center, though. It's actually the Paris, Mistral Paris, and the Milan over here, desperately trying to hold out. In fact, there's a stovepipe position just got taken out, and logistics vehicle is gone. So, Hippie, despite wanting peace in our time, hasn't quite gotten the kills he desperately needs. Though
yeah,
he's taking out quite a few of the helicopters. I'm sorry, yes, sir?
He has been not trading efficiently here down south. Oh, the Gazelle Hot 2 going for T-55 does get the kill, but took a little bit of 50 cal fire. I think it's going to be pretty hard for him to get back into the chemical plant. He does not have the forces numbers, unless he just bombs everything to bits. It's going to come down to the French Air Force.
I think you're right on that one. And unfortunately, I don't know. I think aWoodenBox has lost enough of his anti-air. I guess that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, he has those Strellas still in there, which can provide some level of air defense, and a couple of Shilkas. It's gonna be... It's not gonna be consistent air defense. Oh, up north, I believe. Yes, he comes in, actually. Did he kill something? I don't know. He gets shot down now, so...
He picked up some infantry. It wasn't anything huge, but, you know, it's still something.
Really,
Down
really...
in the south, though. Forgive me, Paris are going to take out an SAS? Or no, they're... Oh, no, they're CV hunting.
Oh.
Which...
Yeah. Just trying to buy him some time. Because he does have the points lead, at least, and there's only 16 minutes left in the match, so... Doesn't necessarily need to make, you know, massive gains. He can knock out the Foxtrot CV, that'll give him a nice little +1 point advantage, if he can continue to hold up North and Echo, which is probably not going to happen for too long, as the Pioneers are flaming their way through.
True, but they can't engage the vehicle just yet, and that's the issue. He's going to bring a motorized Schützen for that, and they're going to get absolutely hammered going across the open space. Which is really quite weird, when I think about it.
He sells the Shilka and T-55, he just needs to get them online and operational to help out in this engagement.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Well, the Paris can continue closer and closer, take out the Strela. And in the center, these anti-char Paris. So, these guys are interesting. These are basically like, you know, back in SD2 when you have the very, very rare case of anti-tank on anti-tank on anti-tank.
Yes.
These guys are kind of like that, I feel like, with the APLAs. The
Yeah.
APLAs over here, really pretty solid.
Yeah, they're very cost efficient for, like, you know, Panzer Shrek squad for blowing up and tanks. But in this engagement here, they're not exactly going to be all at rough roll, because right now it's not really the tanks which are buggering him, it's all these mod shootings. We're seeing a big investment of air power here.
So he sacked one of his Jaguars, I think, just now to unmask and take out. Oof.
Oh, two.
Cluster as well.
Oh, he is not trading efficiently in the air.
Well, he did take out 2 more Strelas with it.
Yeah.
And while we might be deriding the Strelas as not being really that effective, there's still less anti-air now over here in that position, which is still kind of an issue here.
Comes the Hines. Is there any anti-air here from Hippie? I don't believe so. So these Hines should be able to provide some very, very effective fire support.
I think so. Reservist, not too well. And logistics vehicle to the north has just gotten hit, so yeah, this is a big problem now. Now he's going to really get aggressive.
And the Shilkas at close range, proven to be, once again, very brutal.
In fact, as you can kind of see right here, we got a +2 kind of going on, and with really that central position really being controlled more or less by the East Germans, what exactly can those West Frenchmen kind of do against this?
We are seeing a potential CV snipe in Foxtrot here, as the Fallschirmjägers are being forced to fall back. Maybe that anti-tank unit might actually get the block in, though maybe the powers will just finish them off as they can shoot on the move. Another Mirage being brought in, mainly just for air defense. Going in hot, right for the air spawn. They're going to be sniping up MiG-21 right out of, well, spawn.
No,
not getting
MiG-21 is desperately getting, yeah, because there's only 1 HP left on that Fallschirmjäger, so that's a bit of a problem.
The one dude left alive with the radio, keeping that zone online.
Well, the funny thing, too, there's a Gazelle on the ground, and this Mi-24 is like, I don't care if it's not honorable, I'm still shooting you.
It's coming in hot to deal with that, like, anti-partisan work. Well, Fallschirmjäger commanders should pretty much be fine now. I don't believe that anti-Char squadron will actually get into a position to snipe him, especially with the Hind flying about.
Funny thing, though, is that even if that Fallschirmjäger goes down, there's another command vehicle that's being brought from the north and down south, the 402 and 40p, so it's not really super, you know, how do I put this mildly?
It was an emergency buy.
I'm sorry?
It was an emergency buy.
Oh, absolutely.
A panic buy.
Absolutely. Now, unfortunately, the Hind over here is going to be killing his former comrade, which seems a little bit brutal, but, you know, understandable.
He served the Soviet Union.
And now he's going back to pick up the Paras, so actually the Fallschirmjäger might be okay.
Yeah, he'd probably be good, and also with the panic buy commander vehicles route, it's really not going to be that big of a deal if he was to go down here. That's definitely going to solidify the rear for WARNO, and the front line for him is still looking pretty good. Apart from up north, there's the Shears actually managing to capture 2 logistic vehicles, and the Hind as well, making sure they serve the Soviet Union, well, Eastern Germany, I should say.
Yeah, Soviet Union by another name, right?
Yeah.
Ah, yes, the GDR, the goddamn Republic. Now, interestingly, I say interestingly because it's something that we talked about before the replay went live. We actually have a recon vehicle with 2 chevrons. Now, we talked a little bit about why this potentially might be. And the only thing we could really kind of come up with was the stress resistance. But unfortunately, when you have a Mirage pounding after you, stress resistance doesn't mean a whole lot.
Yeah. I don't think as much stress training will get you prepared for being shot at from short-range missiles. So the Mirage does get sniped. The East German air defense, you know, maybe a few cubs down, but it's still willing to slap back.
Yes it is. Actually, one of the things I'm kind of finding myself really appreciating here is there's kind of like this front line from the East Germans that's outside the actual command zone. I feel like a lot of gameplay in this is going to be fixated on, oh yes, we want to go and fight over specifically the command zone. We have almost these breakwaters. If nothing else, you have opportunities for your opponent to be wasting firepower on a completely, you know, I'm going to say worthless, air quotes, unit. So it's, you know, something that's a little bit different to be seeing. It's something I really kind of quite appreciate about aWoodenBox's playing, especially in the central position here.
Oh, I do. You see his little command vehicle push here? He's trying to sneak out into the enemy zone. Oh, I believe that was the spare command vehicle from earlier. You know, his little partisan action has been spotted, and the VBL is going to go in for the kill. If he can kill. Oof. Or just danger close bomb and run.
Yeah, I'm surprised that mission got approved.
Damn.
But hey, aWoodenBox is up right now.
Yeah.
How did he pick that up, though, too? Let's be fair. He picked up 2 more percentage points right there. He wasn't going to get Bravo at any point. His much earlier play being what it was. By the way, last Cub being brought on in. So those guys are in the back right now. My suspicion is he's going to move him to the northern side. He cannot lose any kind of command vehicle that's up there. So
Yes. And this is getting pretty tight here. WARNO is currently in the lead. For Hippie, either needs to just try to get a foothold back into Delta, but I think that's going to be too far gone. His other option is probably just trying to get a foothold back in Echo, but that's not going to get rid of the +3, if I can say my numbers correctly. Only bring it down to a +1, which is still not ideal.
well, T-55 to the western part of that central position actually did go down just now, courtesy of that Jaguar with the ATGMs. But he did do his purpose as the Jaguar. I also thought he was going to be kamikaze into those into those Cubs. He killed another command vehicle, which at this point is, let's see, let's just take a quick check my abacus over here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the French are either really far out of him or they're really, really close to being out of command vehicles.
Yeah, it's been pretty deadly to be a commander in this battle so far. You've been hunted down or blown up by aircraft, which is usually not pleasant, I would say.
Yeah. Double
All the
plus
grunts are
good.
full.
Exactly, that's why you have PBIs. Now, T-55s, despite the fact that they're a little bit out of date, there's nothing wrong with their guns. They're able to be killing a lot of these French, I would say tanks, air quotes. And not for nothing, we see a push for T-55s circling in and around that central position from the northern side, being engaged by the Paras. So the Paras are probably going to take at least one or two of these tanks. But, yeah, that kind of devastation is not going to occur for long.
That's got wrath of firepower. I do like that push, so I think he's...
I like it a lot less.
Yeah. A little bit too bunched up, yeah. But I see what he's trying to do, because if he could have positioned him well, I'd say he could knock out a supply line, but it's really the more farther bridge is the critical supply line into the chemical plant.
And that, as we know, is just a bridge too far.
That's gonna be a bridge too far with T-55s.
Well, they got one squad. Unfortunately, it cost them 80% of their strength to do it. And probably the most interesting thing for me is after having his scare, he's invested, I say he, aWoodenBox has invested an awful lot of firepower down here to the southeast. Not looking to even have to worry about things for even a second. And now I feel like we're playing Ride of the Valkyries.
Oh yeah.
To the northern side. That's quite a few bits of
Might be a helicopter rush.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not gonna get too much done here. The two Cubs. Is Shilka here? No. Okay, there's a Strela being brought up as well. And also the two Gazelles all the way far north as well. Probably been spotted from that MiG-20 run, so he knows some tomfoolery afoot.
Well, not to be outdone, there's still a couple other Mirages in and about. And those Cubs, yeah, they might be engaging, but they don't have a whole lot of accuracy just yet. And indeed, he's sacking all of his MiGs for some reason.
Here comes the Gazelles!
I hear the burr of cannon fire to the south, so yeah, taking out that other Mi-2. And this is the desperate throw. If these Pumas and these Gazelles can go and clean up everything, well then, life's gonna be pretty good. But those Cubs, they have guys sitting in a munitions truck next to them just hurling rockets out off the tailgate.
And also the T-55s, not to be outdone. I mean, anti-aircraft machine guns on tanks are good. Probably a little bit too good in my personal opinion. And those Pumas, well, they're going to be living the historical pirate life of just getting, well, blown and executed. Yeah.
Now, there are a couple of Gazelles behind the front lines. Frisky little fellas. But that was a devastating blow to the French Air Force, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's pretty much last ride, yeah. He does manage to kill a command vehicle on the back line, but it's not really going to be affecting the front line all that much, as all the important zones are still under Box's control. And maybe at Fauchemega Fuhrer might actually die now from a second potential CV snipe.
Yeah, but there's another command vehicle to the east. So the Shilka is sitting at a redefined range here. Should be able to engage any moment.
That's very true. The Shilka is, yeah. But he's doesn't the best line of sight.
Oh, he doesn't need to. He does not need to. Equally cheeky. Actually, we have a couple of Pamelas over here to the northern side of that. What is that? Echo right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A couple of Pamelas in there. He's looking to pick on these hinds, which makes sense, and he's probably gonna be able to take those out too. But I think that's more just like a last gasp of like, typical, I'm getting angry at you. So I think that's why he's trying to go for these snipes here.
Yeah, it's really all you can do at this point in the match is just try to get those CV snipes, but this is very clearly WARNO's game now, with such a huge point advantage. Delta's very much secure. I'm wondering what we're going to be seeing here from Hippie to, you know, try to make the end of the match interesting. It's going to be throwing in a bunch of shippers up north. Well, no, actually down south, never mind. I actually looked at the path and they're going straight for the plant.
Dumb question. Hinds technically, I think, have anti-air defense.
If you buy the anti-air ones, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use the minigun against helicopters.
Yeah. I just mean more about the ground-to-air missiles. As the one Mi-24 to the northern side kind of limps away.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you're right. They definitely have some ground attack with the Gatling, but more of like the actual material itself. You see right now the Mi-24 set should be absolutely lighting up these paras any second.
ERM runs pop in the smoke so they can bugger off, as they're not really frontline units.
The same probably could be said for some of the other equipment that's already been used in this fight here today. Regardless, aWoodenBox was heavily behind and really stuck it out. Like you said, reservists, not the guys you want in the front lines when all is kind of said and done here, and I think we kind of see why.
Yeah, it's just the 11th French is just not a very good division. I see why people are going to want to make it work, because it is a fun division, don't get me wrong. It's very cool, especially if you've seen a French airborne division. You don't really see it in bloody video games. But as we see here, they're very predictable. Sure, you knock out the air power, the infantry folds.
That is certainly true, actually. This Mi-24, okay, they're making an opportunistic run. Nope. And the Chasseurs with the paras, yeah, they might be able to take the BTR. Yeah, Motorai shoots them over here, but big deal.
That's the tap. Rightfully so, and... wow, very close in KD,
yeah. Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Is that despite the fact that the East Germans do have a better vehicle tab, they also lost a hefty portion of them.
Also, a lot of that is losing some of those Hinds and aircraft towards the end. And I'm also surprised aWoodenBox is... he's actually aWoodenBox. I'm shocked, I tell you, absolutely shocked.
Not often that the actual name fits the box.
Oh. Fits in the box. He's not thinking outside the box.
I really want to laugh at that joke. I do. Trust me. I'm laughing on the inside. But I'm absolutely fixated on these Gazelle cannons over here taking out, the 5 SPG-9s. That was the cheeky little end run at the beginning of the actual game itself. So that guy paid himself quite handsomely. But the same couldn't be said for a lot of other companions here.
Yeah, nothing super duper crazy. I mean, of course, the Legionnaire infantry hold their own realm, but there's just not enough of him.
Looking at the other side, a couple of Fallschirmjägers doing decently well. A T-55 kind of getting some cheeky kills. This Gazelle, though, 1, 2, 3, 4 Jaguars. He kills a Mirage or 2. He kills a Gazelle. Yeah, this guy's got quite the trophy case back at home. Loventhal over here.
He's pretty much like an anti-air ace, if that's even a bloody thing. He's knocked out. Yeah, goddamn. Goddamn, that's actually a crazy Shilka.
Well, because the actual Jaguars themselves are expensive AF, so...
yeah, that's really impressive, Khan.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's got what? He's got 5 air kills? 7 air kills?
1, 2,
8?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 planes and a helicopter on a bloody Shilka. That's... good job,
impressive.
yeah, buddy. Knocked out the entire French Air Force.
Yeah, by himself, he accounts for like 17% of all points lost.
God damn, that's awesome.
It is. It is. It's a little terrifying, but awesome. Let's take a quick look over here. I just want to see the death run of the Pumas. Yeah, Shilka, Strela, Cub, T-55, Cub. Yeah, that Gazelle and Puma run at the end. Unfortunately, the French had the better of it in the early game, but not able to seal the deal at the end of it all.
Yeah, you have to, like with, any airborne division, especially going back to SC2, you gotta win early, otherwise you just run out of stuff.
Indeed. Indeed. Any final thoughts, sir?
No.
Well, folks, in that case then, until next time, I'm Con Olberg.
I'm Rangaroo, take it easy.